It's gonna be me. It's gonna be me. It's gonna be me. Guess what? It's gonna be me.
Well, hello.
May.
It's gonna be May, everyone. Welcome.
If you know me really well, I can tell you a Justin Timberlake story about myself, but not on air. Not on air.
You can only hear it at Apartmentalized.
Only Apartmentalized. That's yes. The one. How's it going?
An episode. It's Happy Friday, everyone. It's May 2nd. We are on episode 35. We have an awesome guest coming in shortly, but we had to talk about one or two things to lead up.
Yeah, well, it's a busy conference season. We'll talk more about that, what's coming. There was a lot of stuff, a lot of posts. People are posting about where they're going, what panels they're on, all that stuff. It's May. It's the first Friday of the month. May's a lot of different things, right? A few different holidays. Today is actually International Harry Potter Day.
Is it really?
Yeah. Now, I thought, we're known for like this hard-hitting news, but I thought I'd just kind of go through some tabloids. So like I turned to like a People kind of vibe, like People magazine on Who Taught It Better. I don't know if anyone knows these teachers. These are all teachers of the Defense Against the Dark Arts. Eric,
it seemed to be a rotating position there.
It is.
It reminds me of during COVID, a lot of leasing teams rotated.
Are you big into Harry Potter?
I'm not going to say I'm a huge fan. I do love Harry Potter. Seen every single movie, if not 3 times. I'm waiting on the last 2 to show my daughter, though, who's only 7. Those are
pretty dark. Well, it looks like, if you were to put this through the tabloids and the kind of the general population, people feel Lupin is the better of the Defense Against the Dark Art teachers.
Is this according to the Daily Owl?
Yes.
Yes.
Daily Prophet. Now, there was another debate that happened earlier this week. It kind of relates to our guest. So, she kind of ranked our coolness. I guess we're up there, but we're not as cool as Zach Sloan. And now my thought was all we need was a man bun. But
yeah, well, apparently it's not just that.
It's not, because look, we would not that those look exactly like us, but we wouldn't look that great with them.
You kind of look like Steve Carell a little bit.
With a man bun. Yeah. No, Zach. So this is AI, putting us in man buns. We didn't really need to AI Zach, but we figured I'd make it an even playing field. But even with man buns, if we had them, Zach is still cooler.
That's awesome.
Debate.
Mike.
Yes.
Mike
yes.
Brewer
of course, of the T-shirt. Lovely. And since we have a guest, we're kind of going to be talking about who did it better, and we've been talking about pricing. So, who does pricing better? Like, who in multifamily is doing pricing well? Who is not? Those are not real, accurate apartment statements, but ChatGPT generated. But I think we can bring in a teacher in her own right, kind of relating to our Defense Against the Dark Arts. I don't know what kind of arts our next guest would teach, but she teaches a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, let's bring in Lisa.
Hey, everybody.
Howdy.
And by the way, I am a teacher. I graduated from college with a teaching degree in English Lit. And are you ready? Sex education.
There you go. Fun fact. I mean, I'm not surprised that you're a teacher, though, frankly, but that's
yes,
cool.
I graduated from college with a teaching degree, and you had to have a teachable minor. And at the time when I graduated, there was a huge demand for sex education teachers. Yeah. So I minored in sex education. And let me tell you, when you are in the library and you're reading advanced human sexuality, you get hit on it all the time.
Yeah.
But if you pull out your book called Mate Selection and Marriage, all those people went away.
So,
It just depended on what book you took to the library.
One might say you swam upstream.
So you got to read Beowulf and Kingsley reports, I guess. I don't know much about it.
And the Happy Hooker and all that.
Okay, well, lovely. Love it.
So I have a very balanced background.
Yeah, that's love it. All right, Eric, you saw the post first. You saw the conversation starter. Why don't you kick it off?
Oh, I should probably go back to the post, the original post here. Let me pull up my.
Let's talk about fees.
Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, we'll just kind of kick off the general topic here. We started talking about fees, and obviously, this is renewal showdown. Like May is here; it's either go or no go. A lot of folks who started to rent in June need to give notice, right? Our 30-day notice needs to be in by today, tomorrow, the next day, right? So we're kicking off this summer of renewals, and ultimately, what that comes into play is, you stay, you go. What are the fees, right? What are the fees? What are how much am I going to pay? And for some reason, maybe I don't know, you tell me, Lisa, a decade, 2 decades ago, perhaps, fees were simple.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you pay this for rent and then you cover utilities, done.
Yep. Pretty much.
But it has
changed a lot.
Everything's changed. And
I want to preface this with a couple things. Number one, I understand fees. I get it. I will say some I think are egregious, absolutely egregious. But I'm not blaming companies for charging them, because some properties have extremely high interest rates right now, and it's very hard just to make that monthly payment. I get it. My biggest complaint about fees is that we're not teaching our people how to sell them. And I want to hold people's feet to the fire on this. It's the management company's fault. And it's really, more than anything else, the supplier's fault. If you sign an agreement for your leasing people, your staff, to add on a fee, $35 a month for packages or trash or whatever, and that supplier doesn't teach your team how to sell that fee and how to deal with pushback, then that supplier is not doing their job. And
so
you know what?
Blame customer success teams.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. So we can blame customer success teams on the supplier side for this?
I'm not saying it's customer success teams, because it needs to come from the top, and they need to say to their salespeople, and when you sell to this company, you add on a class to teach these people how to sell this deal. I haven't seen that. And that could be my fault. Maybe there are people out there teaching them how to sell it, but I will tell you, I teach sales to thousands of leasing professionals every year. Thousands. Some management companies hire me just to train their sales teams. I teach for apartment associations. And 95% of the leasing people in my classes, and the managers and the assistant managers and everybody else, hate fees. They hate them. They hate some fees more than others. But the reason they hate them is because no one has taught them how to sell the fees. They just say, oh, and by the way, these are our fees. And wow, voila, your rent just went up $250 a month. If we're going to charge the fees, we need, as an industry, as an owner, as a supplier, to teach our people how to sell them. If we're not going to teach them that, then we're failing. Because it's hard to sell add-ons like that. Like, I've got a list right here. I came prepared.
There you go.
Here we go. And this is basic. Okay, this is not even extreme. You have the security deposit alternative that you have to pay, $31 a month. We have smart homes, $50 a month. Trash, $35 a month. And I've seen trash higher than that. That's just picking it up from your door. I've also seen one where you have to pay a portion of the common area trash fee. I've seen trash fees as high as $65 a month. This is the one that I just really, I'm sorry. This one makes me laugh. Oh, and by the way, we'll charge you $5 a month every month. Prepare the invoice so we can invoice you to pay your utilities.
Classic.
You know what?
Classic.
That is so laughable. It's really, we're really charging them to create an invoice. Whatever had happened to the cost of doing business? $5, eat it. $5 a month is not going to kill your bottom line. And it's not going to make your shareholders on your quarterly investment call say, hey, we should be charging $7 for that invoice preparation instead of $5 because we can get an additional $2 a month. Internet and cable, I get that. Totally get that. No problem with that. Really no problem with that either. Poop rents, honestly don't have a problem with that either. You got a dog. You want to keep your apartment community clean. I got that. Security deposit alternative, if they can't afford a security deposit, whatever. I don't really have a problem with a lot of the fees. The invoice preparation fee, yeah, I don't like that. But some of these things, I'm sorry. Yeah. Vehicle registration fee. We're going to charge you $50 per car per year to register your vehicle. Is that reasonable? I don't think it is.
I mean,
yeah, that one I don't understand. I mean, ultimately, it's like, are you like, as a renter, I would want to know where's this money going.
But here's
right. I understand it. Trash, all that kind of stuff. But like vehicle registration fee for what? Is that like to scan my license plate every time I come?
But there it is. If you can explain it and you can attach a value to it, you can sell it. So if I were leasing professional and somebody said to me, what's the vehicle registration fee for? Well, because we want to make sure that you always have a place to park every night. That's very important to us. We have a service that drives through our community and checks license plate numbers. And because your plate might change from year to year, we ask you to do that because we have this service, because you don't want to come home and not have a place to park because people who don't live here or their guests haven't registered their vehicle are parked there. My oldest daughter used to live in a community in Rockville, Maryland, and it had not enough parking. So you had to register your vehicle. I get that. And you don't want to be towed. I get that. Teach them how to sell it. And I'm going to say $50 a year so I get a parking space and they're towing people who don't belong here. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Teach us how to sell it.
I have a question.
That's the problem.
I have a question. So like, do you think in your mind, do you think it's better? Because Airbnb, Eric kind of just talked about this like a week or two ago, kind of rolled everything in to kind of say, hey, it's going to be, $2,500. Do you think that model where it's like, this is what you're going to pay, and then you start breaking down what everything's for, like this goes for your 2-bedroom unit, this goes for your trash, like then you go into the details? Or are you more, do you think the details should come right at the beginning of the process? This is the rent for the actual unit, and then these are the fees. Like, do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah. Here's the problem. We're not Airbnb as the multifamily industry. So we can't say everybody has to do this to comply. Right. So I'm Joe Schmo. I've got 5,000 units and I'm competing with somebody like Greystar, who's really working hard on transparency. I give big kudos to Greystar for working on their transparency. You go to a lot of their property websites and their fees are right there on the homepage, which I love that. I think that's great. But I'm 5,000 units and I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to put it on my homepage and I'm not going to put it in my ILS ads. So when somebody's looking for a $2,000 a month apartment, I'm going to beat out Greystar if Greystar rolls all in. I'm going to come up at the top of the search engine results and Greystar is going to come in down here. That's where you run into the problems because we're not Airbnb. So it's really an unfair comparison.
Right.
I think
yeah, that makes sense. And Airbnb has about 30 to 40% of the market share, and legally,
and they have
to be transparent with their fees. Yes. So the government came down and did that. Now, I mean, from the grace of, I don't know, whomever, like long-term rentals did not have to abide by the junk fee rules. Somehow we skated, underneath the bar or, over the dam on this, But yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, if I'm something in real estate, I mean, if you're pricing a home at 195 versus 205 and someone's searching at $200,000 or less,
you're not going to make the cut.
Right, you're not going to show up.
Right. Yeah.
You're not going to make the cut.
And Zillow and apartments.com are working really hard behind the scenes right now on transparency because, the ILSs serve two masters. They serve the property management company /owners and they serve the renter. But they've really got to make sure that the renter sees what's real out there. Mm-hmm. So I don't have an answer to it. So my answer to it is teach your people how to sell the fees. and have them on your website so people know what they're getting into. And if you look at people like Chris Voss and Robert Cialdini and some of the experts in influence, there are very specific methodologies to add-ons for pricing, very specific. And as a student of Cialdini, I've gone through his workshop, I've read all of his books, I'm looking at doing more things, in his certification programs. The guy knows what he's talking about. Yeah. Let's look at this and let's get these people educated, because they're the ones whose feet are held to the fire. I'm not going to pay this. I'm not going to pay for valet trash because I'm going to take my trash to the dumpster. Well, you know what? It's not optional. So you've got to be able to sell it. So saying something like, quality of life for our residents is really important. So we have put some programs together to help you have a higher quality of life, because people who rent are all about convenience. Here are some of the programs that we've put together. We've got valet trash service, so you don't have to take your trash out. We have a package service, so your packages can be delivered at your convenience. We've got instant on internet. We make sure that there's parking spaces, so a bunch of unregistered people don't park here. You can list them like that and say, and of course, we do have to charge some fees for that because we have expenses that we have to cover for that. So let's talk about some of the fees that go along with our rent.
Yeah, I love that, because in all that you were talking about service, and then you talk about the fee or the cost of that service, which makes total sense, because versus just a fee that seems like a fee. It's all it is, right?
Oh, and by the way, we're going to charge you $35 a month for trash valet. So people are going to be like, I don't want that. Wait a sec. We want the community to be clean. We don't want there to be trash blowing around. And I tell you what, I've been in high rises before where Nancy neighbor sticks her garbage bag outside her door and walks by it six days in a row. And then the neighbor just gets frustrated. They grab the bag, they throw it down the trash chute.
Yeah,
I get it. But and again, I don't have a problem with a lot of the fees. I have a problem with the fact that we're not teaching our people how to sell them. And if we don't do that, we set them up for not necessarily failure. Because if you're going to go to property A, B, and C that are all in the same price range, you're probably going to hit the same amount of fees. But we're putting them on a front line and we're letting them get beat up for something that we could teach them how to sell.
Yeah.
This is great. Lisa, tell me, do you think we'll ever go on a trend back towards all inclusive? I mean, everything from pet fees to just, hey, this is the price you pay. Everything's included. We don't care if you use the gym one day a year or every day. We don't care if you do, you think that's ever going to happen? Or if do you know of anyone who still does all inclusive?
I don't know anybody who has all inclusive pricing, but that doesn't mean anything. As long as the ILSs are structured by the search criteria that you can have, that sorts, you start by price. And if you don't check all your boxes, people forget when they put in their ILS listings. And I love the ILSs. I'm not bashing them at all. If you don't check air conditioning and somebody searches with air conditioning, you're not going to come up at the top of the search criteria. It's kind of like AI. What you put in is what you get out. And if we're basing it on price, but your fine print on your website says, oh, but this is all that's included in your rent. If you don't come up in the search criteria, people aren't going to see you. Like I went on ChatGPT last night in preparation for this event. And I said, hey, find me some apartments in Chicago that don't charge fees. All it said was, if you don't want to pay fees, search out a local owner. Do this. It was not helpful at all.
Yeah, go to an independent landlord.
Exactly. And then they always tell you to try to negotiate and all that other stuff that you can't do. And we got to teach our people how to sell.
Well, why don't we switch gears here to, that's moving in. Let's talk about renewal fees. I heard some folks are starting to charge money just to renew.
They are.
The pleasure of remaining where you are. Not only do you already pay all these extra fees and rent, but guess what? Just for the pleasure of maintaining your
business. And by the way, we raised you around $100 a month.
Yeah.
Of course.
Help us salespeople sell the value of that, Lisa. Help us sell the value.
I cannot sell the value of a renewal fee. I'm sorry, because I don't see the value. I mean, if someone can sit me down and talk to me about what the value is, and I've seen them as high as $500. Oh, and here's your new rent. But dear Eric, another year has come and gone. Can you believe it? And your lease is set to expire in 90 days, blah, 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 blah. I've seen these letters. They're all the same. We would love to keep you at the same rent, but the rising cost of property taxes and utilities and blah, blah, is something we cannot ignore. Therefore, if you renew today, your rent is this. If you wait 30 more days, it will be this. And if you wait till the day of, it's going to be this. And if you decide to go month to month, it's going to be 5 times what you're paying now, plus a $1,500 month rent, month to month, fee, whatever. And I get that. I get the tiered renewal ideas. I get the high month to month. Totally.
The sooner you can predict your expenses for a turn, the better. You're saving money on
what's a $500
having
renewal
issues
fee
with occupancy.
Cover?
Training the salespeople to sell trash valet.
I make a joke in my classes that and it's a joke, but it's real. When your rent goes up, renters literally will come into your office and say, "Yes, I see that my rent's going up and you're driving a new car. Is that why my rent's going up?" They will say stuff like that to you. Yeah. They will absolutely say stuff like that to you. Which that's crazy. You can't get past that. But $500 for a renewal fee? Explain that to me. Explain that and the invoice preparation charge, and I will be a happy camper if you can justify those costs.
All right, Eric, you got work to do. You got work to do. Got to explain that. I have a question because we're going to wrap up. If you've taught a lot of classes, a lot of people coming in with various, experience. Mm-hmm. If you had a Harry Potter magic wand, or Hermione or whoever, like whatever the better wand is, and you could say, I want people to come into the industry or come into classes or come into their work with this piece of knowledge, like what would it be? Like at a very base level. I don't want to open up a can of worms, but what would like the main thing that you see is like, I wish people knew this better.
Are you talking about people or just like anybody?
Anybody? Well, people that you work with, I guess. I guess people that you would work with, leasing people that work on, like, what do you wish they brought to the table in terms of understanding?
The thing that I tell every leasing person that I teach is, I've been in this business over 25 years. It is one of the most fun jobs you will ever have. You will have the best time. You will meet amazing people. You will learn management, sales, customer service. I can pull a toilet and replace a wax ring and rewire an electrical outlet. You will learn so many things from being in property management. You could literally go work for anybody and have some kind of skill set that you're bringing forward. I don't think there's any job at an apartment community that doesn't create tremendous value for a skill set when you're moving on to perhaps another industry, because you see it all and you literally do it all. We've all of us who ever worked on site, we've cleaned apartments. We've picked up poop. We've babysat kids. We've driven residents to pick up their car at the shop because it's ready and their husband's at work and can't come home in time to give them a ride to their car. We've done it all. I used to be able, back in the day, I could make margaritas for $85 in one great big container. We learn it all. Yeah. And it's just fun. I mean, that's the thing I want to tell them. You are embarking on one of the most fun, innovative, and exciting industries of all time. And if you're like a lot of us, you get in and you never leave.
I like that. Good answer.
Great advice. I like that. I got the easiest sell in the world for you here. Although we'll get you out of the way here. Move for Hunger is a nonprofit.
Near and dear to my heart.
You can scan the QR code.
Go to the
website.
Good.
It's a nonprofit that you wanted us to chat about just briefly, but essentially it's a national nonprofit organization that helps with transportation of surplus food to communities.
I grew up with food insecurity. I mean, most days I didn't have anything to eat before I went to school. I didn't have lunch. when I was at school. We didn't have any money. I know what it's like to not have enough to eat. Move for Hunger helps those people who do not have enough to eat. It's a great organization. Your apartment community should be a part of it. Your management company should be a partner. AIM this year is doing a great thing. When you come in and you get your registration, you can actually make a meal right there.
Oh.
They've got a little station where you can make a meal. It's Move for Hunger. If you're not a part of it, look into it, become a part of it. One of the best nonprofits out there.
Nice.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing this with us, with our network here. And Lisa, it's been great chatting. We got to kick you out
Thanks.
here.
Had a good time.
Yes, this was great. Thank you, Lisa.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Well, we got a couple more things to talk about. That was great having Lisa on.
No, so and it's just the perspective, like perspective that you need in like kind of the modern day, right? Kind of connecting all those dots together. Someone else was kind of talking about details like this. I saw a post from Mike Whaling. Did you see this post?
I did briefly.
I sent it
to you. I perused it like a good email 3 minutes before a big meeting.
First of all, you know me, hard-hitting news. Yeah. Do you have a crock pot?
I own 2 crock pots because I brought a crock pot to the family and my wife did. And when we combined, we just never got rid of it. Because sometimes you need 2 crock pots.
And that was kind of the point, is people do sometimes need these kinds of cookers, a slow cooker. It's not a thing that you really have to introduce. The point was how much details are involved in the product information, the product marketing, all the details that go into it. Like that you may not even look at, but somebody might be looking at, right?
Yep. And I think the point here from what I'm getting is, I mean, look, you have so much competition, your community, you have so much competition. Differentiating is extremely difficult. I can't imagine crockpots trying to differentiate. I mean, the technology has been around for crockpots for decades, right? They're all pretty much the same thing. You plug it in, it's got low, it's got high, it might have a timer.
Right. Slow. I mean, crockpot is kind of like the Kleenex of tissue, right? But with all the advent of like some of these newer things like the Instapots and all those different kind of machines that we're seeing, you do need to differentiate. You do need to kind of put those details in there. Yeah. I thought it was a really great post on those details. Other kind of big news that trended this week was a lot of folks posting about some of the data from the Q1 earning reports, different reports, things like that. So you saw people saying, "Hey, nobody feels safe. Everyone has it, rightly so, right? People are just kind of being a little cautious about everything."
Yeah, this is true. Jobs report came back quite positive, added more jobs than expected. Tariffs are still up, down, left,
right.
And
I do want to call out somebody, I think Chris Roper posted the 3 benefits from tariffs for multifamily. He had a kind of an interesting take on it. That's worth looking at. But it's a busy season. We had a lot of chatting, a lot of news catching up, a lot of events coming up. We have, for a lot of folks, AIM and TAA is next week. So people are flying to Texas or California. Some folks are already there. I'm not going to either, but I'll be prepping with you, Eric, for Apartmentalize.
That's right. Yeah, we are emceeing the podcast Palooza, which is essentially kind of an invite-only event where industry we'll be doing lots of fun things there, but live podcasting. So multiple, I don't know who yet exactly inside of the Multifamily Media Network will be podcasting live. Maybe those details will be revealed later on in the coming weeks, but we're going to be doing some live debates with these 4 categories.
Yeah, there'll be some debates. So I just want to back up, just so everyone knows what a Palooza is. I only knew Lollapalooza. It's the only one I knew. But
The original Great
Palooza,
Palooza.
I looked up the definition. It refers to an event or gathering that is large scale in celebration. So it could be for food, it could be for music, it could be for whatever. So Podcast Palooza is going to feature a lot of podcasts, a lot of stuff. One of those things is, these micro podcasting sessions. Another one is these debates on certain topics. So we're getting kind of industry folks to debate basically how AI is kind of having a positive or negative or neutral kind of relationship with some of these topics. And then Eric and I will be kind of keeping the show moving. So you'll get more of our great personality and zero man buns.
Yes, I will not be growing a man bun between now and then.
I will never grow one. There, I said it. That's how we end. Last week is hairballs. This week it's man buns. We'll see what next week is. I don't know. Let's get off the hair thing.
All right, everyone. We're actually 2 minutes over time. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for hanging out with us. Multifamily Weekend Update.